When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Donnie and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
the doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Donnie, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it for all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
I just love that song. Welcome to the Donnie Glover Show. Emmy nominated right here on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. This is a special edition. You know, Baltimore, Maryland, Mid-Atlantic, East Coast, eastern half of the United States. Got the Port of Baltimore, got BWI, the Amtrak train, the MARC train. Right here in the state of Maryland, got the eastern shore, the western shore down on the water going into the Chesapeake. Got the mountains of western Maryland. And we got Baltimore City right in the middle of all of that. So much history here. So much, so many traditions, including seafood. My God, who doesn't like seafood? David Bramble mentioned the other day. David Bramble's the gentleman, black man who's redeveloping Harbor Place. He said he's allergic to shellfish. Can you imagine? This man has the arduous task of renovating the city of Baltimore. And he can't eat seafood, can't eat shellfish, can't eat crabs, shrimp, mussels, clams, oysters. We got all that in the city of Baltimore. But we also have a lot of pain. We have a lot of trauma. And I'm not just talking about losing to the Ravens. I'm talking about people dealing with all kinds of trauma. And it's nothing different than what you find in any other part of the world. But despite the negative rap that Baltimore gets, we also have some heroes, some giants. I will tell you this about my hometown, Baltimore. If somebody sees that you have fallen down, they will pick you up. I don't know how it is in New York. I can't give you that experience. New York, Atlanta, DC, I've been to those places. But Baltimore, this is what I can tell you. If you fall down in Baltimore, somebody's bound to pick you up. And one of those heroes, sheroes in the city of Baltimore is this young lady right here, Marie Diggins. Good evening, Miss Marie. How you doing?
Hey, Donnie. Good evening. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
First, I want to say, I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be on your platform. You know, so we can get some information out here. You know, get for the really the community, just people, Baltimore City or Maryland, period, to realize, you know, to bring awareness to a topic that used to be taboo for so many years that a lot of people look over men of concern, but it's really, really happening, and people are dying senseless deaths because of it. And that issue is domestic violence, intimate partner violence. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bisexual, transgender, it doesn't matter. Black, white, blue, purple, it doesn't matter. It affects every nationality or culture of people. And my program, as much as the keep what we're trying to do is just put an into these senseless deaths. You know, so again, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. And I'm just glad to be here. So anything you want to ask me, I'll do my best to answer the best of my ability. But we just want to bring
I got a bunch of questions for you.
The communities in Baltimore, Maryland, and in Maryland.
Okay, so where are you?
Wow, here we go. Bring them on. Brother.
Where are you
Maryland.
from?
I'm from Baltimore. I'm from here. Am I missing something with your question?
No.
Let's be more direct with the question.
You know anything about the projects?
Yeah, I'm from Flag House Projects, man. What are you talking about? The one and only Flag House forever.
You know, that's back in the day when I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing, I found myself in Flag House, and I went up them stairwells, and it was a cat with a machine gun on every landing. It was not a game. That Flag House, you from there?
Yeah, it was rough. You know? I'm from that Flag House. It's a little different, like projects. Even though at that time there was drug dealers, you know, pimps, whatever. But I was born in the 60s. So during that time, individuals had more respect for children, right? So a lot of things, even though it was present, it was happening, these things, although we knew that, you know, these things that exist. However, as I gotten older, right, like in my 20s and went out, then being down there, even though we had moved from Flag Projects before then, but I still went there because I had families, and also I lived another life, quote unquote. You know, thank God for being God, though. He do allow.
Thank God for U-turns, huh?
So, you know, yeah, during that time, yeah, it was like people was there with guns, people were selling drugs, they ain't care, had no respect for children. $90. What you said?
God allows U-turns, huh?
Did you say something?
God allows U-turns, correct?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's right.
Tell me how domestic violence
you kind of keep
on your radar. How did domestic violence come onto your radar?
Okay. Just before the pandemic, I had an older sister named was Wanda Diggins. And just before the pandemic, she was murdered by her husband. So let me tell a story like this. When I first started the nonprofit, My Sister's Keeper, my initial goal was to develop transitional and sober living for women and children and women recovering from substance abuse issues, where they get a place they can come to be an environment, a safe environment that would be conducive to their recovery. And if they had children, that they could bring their children along with them, because a lot of times women don't come into treatment, and because they come with more issues than men. They have issues with childcare. So a lot of women won't come to treatment because of their children. So during this time, when I first initially, it was a friend of mine named April Skeeters, when we first initially started this, that was our whole focus. But what happened as time was going on, it was like, it just wasn't happening. It wasn't coming together. It wasn't growing. It wasn't progressing. It wasn't doing anything. And so at some point, my partner at the time decided to step back and no longer want to be a part of it and say, okay, Marie, you're on your own. However, that was fine. But what I learned for myself and realized that that's not where God wanted me to be. Because if there was my calling or my purpose, it would not have been such too much of a struggle. It just wasn't happening. So at this time I was in college, I decided to keep the nonprofit status, didn't know what I was going to do with it. And I just decided just to focus on school, get into the substance abuse field, go to school, get my degrees, and then work in the field of substance abuse. And during the time, I still had through the years, I was thinking about letting the nonprofit status go, but God kept putting in my spirit to hold on to it. Don't do that. Keep it compliant, keep it updated, keep it in, just keep it. Don't let it go. Why? I didn't know. So yes, keep it current. Yes, I didn't know why. So I just was obedient to that. So I can remember after finished college and everything, and I didn't know I was working in the field of substance abuse. And I decided to come out of the field for men. I was driving for Greyhound. You know, God has a way of presenting themselves and talking to us and presenting himself and speaking to us, letting us know, letting us see where he wants us to be. Because I have learned that my plans for my life ain't God plans for my life. You know, I begin to understand that. So I'm driving up 95 on the deadhead. If y'all don't know what a deadhead is, it's an empty bus, no passengers, right? And I'm driving up 95. It's dark, and I keep hearing. And what happened is, before that, what happened? Bring up how I came to it. During the time that before the pandemic, my sister to back up a little bit. My sister was murdered was murdered by her husband. She was attacked while she was asleep, which means she never came out. She was straight into a coma. He broke every bone in her face, every bone behind her eyes. She didn't die immediately, but she died from the residuals of that. So she came out of the coma just for a little bit. When she came out of the coma, she couldn't speak. She couldn't walk. She had to have on diapers. And it's like God allowed her, brought her out of that coma just long enough just for a week to for her kids to spend time with her, for her family to spend time for her. And then after that, she went back into a coma. They put her on hospice and just made her comfortable to pass. So right after that, you know, I get filled up when I talk about it, you know. And right after that, like I was saying, I was going up 95 on the deadhead. And I kept hearing this thumping on my bus. I knew what nobody on it, but it kind of startled me down. So I pulled over to the side. And I was like, okay. I was like, hey, Juan, that's my sister's name. I said, Juan, I know that's you, but you got to stop because you scared me. And immediately it stopped. I tell people this story. Danny, I'm going to call you back. I tell people this story. They look at me like I'm crazy, but people understand, look, the power of God is something, right? So it stopped. And in that moment, I got back in the driver's seat. If I checked the bus, I got back in the driver's seat. And God just showed me the vision. This is what I want you to do with this nonprofit status. And only thing I could say was, I hear you and I'll be obedient. You know, and really haven't missed a beat. The process is moving pretty, you know, consistently. And other things is happening. So once that happened, then I decided that it was important that people understand the effects that domestic violence has, not just on the victim or the survivor, but friends, family, children, community, healthcare, the judicial system. It affects everything. You know, it's senseless deaths, you know, and I think people need to be aware of that and look at it more seriously, because I'm gonna say this because even myself, I'm gonna say I'm guilty because due to ignorance, right? Well, I can remember coming up and then in my teenage years, early adulthood, middle adulthood, you know, you could have neighbors that you see, they fight each other, or you could see a man and woman fighting on the street, and you kind of mind your business. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's nothing. You know, we look at it like it's nothing. I know during that time I did, you know, even though I knew it wasn't right, and I didn't like to see people fight, but I didn't look at the depth of the seriousness that it can lead to, you know, the severity of it. So I kind of like looked over minimum concern, and until that happened to my sister, and that caused me to look at this on a more deeper and a more serious issue, because it is, people are dying. And then what I did, I started doing research, Donnie, looking at Maryland domestic violence rates. I started looking at the court system when it came to peace orders and protective orders, and how many people were dying, and not only people that's victims, but even bystanders, people that try to help become victims. I started looking at the effects on the children, on the family system, and I would hear people talk about it, and it'd be like, "Hey, that couldn't be me." That is very, very easy for someone to say that have not walked in those shoes or experienced that type of violence or that type of abuse, because I would never think, because of where we grew up at, where my family grew up in Flag Projects, you don't let nobody put your hand on you. You fight, right? So I could never ever think or have the thought that my sister was in this type of relationship or allowed anyone to bring her any physical harm, right? And we don't know about it. And she's still there, you know, because a lot of people don't understand the different dynamics and the factors involved in women staying, or even men. Men are abused too. Men just don't talk about it as much as women does, you know, because men, they have, you know, to me, they have that, I'm a man, you know. But that I did some research, and I wish I had it in front of me. It was a while back, but doing that research, Maryland, and when I was looking at the laws in Maryland, and how when I compared it to other states, like I could remember one time, like if when I feel that when women or men are in intimate partner or domestic violence relationships, that if they do have the courage or find the courage to go to seek help, and once they go to court, like sometimes women call the police, or neighbors may call the police, they may come out, the person may be arrested, the woman may press charges, then the women may drop the charges, right? I feel that when this happened, that the state should automatically pick these cases up, which in some cases they do. They should automatically pick them up, because a lot of times women will drop these charges out of fear, because you don't know. Because one thing an abuser does is, one of the things that, if they can get you, they can beat you or get you mentally to believe whatever it is that they say, whatever threats they impose on you, for you to believe that and to live in that fear. You know, because one thing they aim to do is to isolate you, get you away from your family, get you away from your friends, help you to believe that, oh look, nobody gonna love you like I'm gonna love you. I'm all you got. Then you have the women. You have women that's financially dependent on their. That's when children are involved, financially dependent on their provider, their husband, or it could be a female, because it's in same-sex marriages too. Become dependent on the financial part, nowhere to go. There's so many factors, Donnie, can go on forever and ever. We can talk about this thing forever. I just wish I had a lot of my paper, my research in front of me, so I can give you a lot of stats, but I'm quite sure you invite me to the show again, and that'd be more better prepared, like I'm up to right now. But like I said, there's so many factors. Oh man, it's sad. It's senseless. It's sad. But then, and also, I had to look at this. I had to look at this from all perspective. Even the person that's the abuser, even the abuser have a story. We don't know. That's why there's also help for the abuser to seek help and get into some type of counseling, some CBT, to kind of like to change the way of thinking, the patterns of behaviors. Because if I don't change my thinking, I can't change my behavior anyway.
At the end of the
Or
day, we're
even look
talking
at
about
people's
trauma.
core beliefs.
At the end of the day, we're talking about
Indeed,
trauma.
indeed, because we don't know. I'm gonna say probably 95% of the people that experience trauma or more have experienced some form of trauma, especially
And they
childhood
pass it on.
trauma. We have more people
So hurt people
Say that
until
again.
they're healed. Hurt people until they are healed.
Until they know different. That statement, I hear that statement a lot. Hurt people, which I find
Until
some
they
truth
are
in it.
until
I find
they
some
get
truth in it.
healed.
Right?
Until they get healed.
Until they know better. Because do people actually really get healed from it, or do they learn coping strategies on how to deal with those things? Because I say
Well,
that because
isn't that a part of the
you
healing?
can have someone. Listen, hear me out for a minute. Yes, it is part of the healing. It is part of the healing process. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna personally use myself. Okay, I'm gonna allow myself to be a little vulnerable right now. I have experienced childhood trauma for many years during my childhood, right? When I talk about childhood trauma, I'm talking about sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, right? And we're talking about a child, right? I'm talking about starting like the age 7 up until age 12, right? That's years of some form of abuse, right? And then you have a child. So what I'm grateful is that one thing is that our brain had the ability to compartmentalize, so I could be able to function within that abuse, right? So with myself going through these traumas, right, and then going through life at age finally stopped because I made a decision as a 12-year-old to say, hey, I'm not going to allow anyone to ever hurt me again. And
Amen.
that covenant that I made with myself.
Amen.
With myself.
Amen.
When I made that covenant with myself, I lived it and I demonstrated in my behavior, even though I didn't speak it out of my mouth. Right? So here you're talking about a 12-year-old growing up 13, 14, 15, living in, for one, I'm always living in fear. Right? I'm always living in a state of not trusting anyone. I'm already made a decision that because I say nobody going to hurt me, not that I'm intentionally wanting to hurt you, but I'm most definitely, because here I got this imaginary shield around me for my protection. And if I think that you're pushing or trying ready to cross it, I'm pushing the other way. So if I'm pushing you off, it could be in my behavior, it could be not productive, not good, not smart, not sweet, not nice, but whatever I got to do to get you off of me. Because understand, I'm living in protective mode. That's what I'm living in. I'm always in the mode of protecting myself. So I'm protecting myself. I'm defending everything about myself too. Anything that I do, any behavior that I demonstrate, I am going to stand and defend the behavior because in my mind, I have a right I have a right to be this way. Now I'm speaking 2020 hindsight now. I'm speaking 2020 hindsight now. But however, yeah, I know I have hurt a lot of people even in my journey. Because even through all of the trauma and all of the I left home at a very young age. Got caught up in drugs, using for years. That was my escape. When I used, I ain't hit the field though. I look when I use drugs, it quieted the noises in my head. It kept me from feeling the hurt that I lived with, that I
We
had
talking
lived
about
with for so
heroin?
many years.
We talking
It
about heroin?
masked all of that for me. Huh?
We talking about heroin and cocaine?
I'm talking about drugs, Donnie. Talking about drugs, Donnie. You ain't gotta be specific. Drugs, heroin, cocaine, PCP, dust, acid, whatever. Whatever. I've experienced a lot. So even through the substance abuse and all that I quote unquote used as a way to deal. But when I look at 2020 hindsight, it's not dealing. It was something for me to survive at that time. So I thought, not understanding the harm that I was really truly bringing myself, and the harm I was bringing myself in, even not even allowing myself to grow up,
So
to grow
so
up,
so
to
let me
trust
jump
people,
in here.
because I understand that we all human beings. We need people.
Let me jump in here
Go ahead.
with a couple of minutes left. What words of wisdom can you share with people who are suffering in a domestic violence situation?
Would you say it again?
With a couple of minutes left, what information can you share with our
Mhm.
audience in terms of how you can help a person in a domestic violence situation? Does that make sense?
Dan, you keep breaking up.
Okay. What do you want people to know as we
You keep
conclude
breaking.
the
I didn't hear anything
program?
you said.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Let's wrap up the show. What do you want to say?
What I can't really hear you, but I can't really hear you. You keep cutting off really, really bad. Okay, all right, let's wrap the show. What I want to wrap up with this domestic violence, because we kind of got off a little bit because I didn't get into too much of that too much. But however, if anybody, whether you man, woman, I don't care who you are, if you're in this situation, in a domestic violence situation, understand that there's help out here for you. If you want some help, it can be anonymous. You can reach out to our organization. It's My Sister's Keeper, House of Kings. The phone number is 410-501-4759. Or you can go on our website. You can also, and we can, and there's a artist you click in. If you can't talk on the phone, you're on the website. You can send us something through the tab. It's a tab there. You don't have to be talking. Whoever your abuser may be, you don't have to be. If you're in earshot of them, you can use the website so they don't hear what you're doing. Again, that number is 410-501-4759. The website, put in the Google engine, My Sister Keeper, House of Kings, and it will come up, and you can navigate through the system. Help is available for you. You are not alone.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
Daddy, I don't
good.
even see you.
What you mean you don't see me? I'm right here. You don't see me? Everybody else see me.
I'm having some
Okay.
technical.
All right. Well, folks, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back with more of Marie Diggins. Do check her out, and thank you for watching Donnie Glover on BlackUSA.News. Good afternoon, good evening, world.